Maker's Mark. Makers. Makers. Makers.
It's starting to sound like a lamb here.
Yo, yo, yo! What's up, boys? We're back for another one. I'm your king, the Whiskey King, and this is my jester. Yo, what's up, boys? So before we get into it, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, throw some comments if you liked it. Follow us at Whiskey King Reviews on Instagram. Today we're doing Maker's
Mark.
All right.
Maker's Mark.
Your boy, the Whiskey King, was actually at Maker's Mark Distillery. Throughout this video, I'll show you some cool things that I did. I went for a bachelor party, so I'm going to tell you some cool things about it, some things I learned. Jester's going to tell you about the staves, or what he likes to call staves, man. What's interesting about Maker's Mark is they've been around for a real long time. They have a special yeast strain, and they actually only have one mash bill.
Secret strain.
So that secret strain, they keep on lock and key recipe, like grandma's Italian macaroni sauce. You don't want to let that recipe get out, man. We have a couple different bottles here. We're going to start with like their basic one, and then we'll kind of get through and I'll show you some of the different stuff. So this is the standard, but at a cask strength, without the staves. This one is at 110.3 proof. Maker's is in Loretto, Kentucky. Really beautiful distillery. I'd recommend visiting. Out of all the distilleries, I love the grounds there. It's just really beautiful. Now with the 46, this is where we're introducing 10 French oak staves.
Whoa, whoa.
This was one of the first bourbons that I started drinking. My journey started with beer and German beer. Then it went to wine, specifically Napa Cab red wine. Then I ventured into Scotch, and then I found Maker's 46. And Maker's 46 was my first bourbon that I enjoyed. I would typically drink it on the rocks when I first started, but now my palate has evolved quite a bit. You take the 46 and then you amp it up a bit with a barrel finished oak staves. I almost said stave.
Yeah,
so
staves.
So what a stave actually is, basically it's one length of the barrel, and they stick that inside the barrel standing straight up. And they'll use different types of wood. They have the special area in the distillery. A liquor store owner or maybe some type of private company could come in and you could pick all your different staves and private sample a unique blend with the same mash bill and see how the staves affect the flavor.
Interesting.
So that's what this private select is. Seared French Cuvée, Maker's 46, roasted French mocha, and toasted French spice.
Went a little French there.
That was for a store pick. Now, Maker's Mark in the last 2 years has done a limited release offering. This was from last year, and then this is this year, meaning even though this is going to release in 2021, this is the 2020 release, and then this is the 2019 release. So this is the 2019 RC6. The RC6 is 10 virgin toasted American oak staves. It's barrel finished for amplified notes of fruit, balancing sweet and spice at 108.2 proof, 54.1%. We're going to compare that, see what we think, to the PR5. So this is a marriage of virgin, toasted American, and French oak staves. This is at 110.8, so a little bit stronger. They both are using the 10 virgin oak staves. Now we're going to compare, see what we think, and go back and forth. He already poured the PR5, so I'm going to pour some for myself as well. They only have one mash bill. That mash bill is 70% corn, unique for Maker's, which is 16% wheat. They don't use rye. It's a wheated bourbon, kind of similar to Pappy's, Old Fitzgerald, or Weller, for those of you familiar with those, and then the remainder being 14% barley. A couple of the unique things. They have a copper and brass double barrel distillation still. They really pay a lot of attention to create a uniform, unique, consistent product. Where that differs is in the barrel rotation method that they use. So every other distillery will leave the barrel where it sits, and wherever it goes in the rick house is how it's going to come out. But with Maker's Mark, they will rotate the barrels. So every so often they'll take a barrel from the bottom, move it to the top, and then just keep that rotation going.
Well, just to keep the consistency of each barrel.
Exactly. So it gets a little bit at the top, a little bit at the bottom, and they have a unique science to
So
it.
equal time is spent in equal different areas of the brick house.
Exactly. And then they will play with the variation through the staves, even though it's all the same mash bill. So these are all going to taste different. And by the way, this 46 one here, I hand dipped it.
Whoa.
Dipped your tip in
Dip
the
it.
wax.
Dip it in, yeah.
Why don't we start with the 2020, since you already did it, and then we'll do the 2019. All right? Let's get into it. Wow, sweet nose. Not too much ethanol. It's pretty inviting.
I'm almost getting like a raspberry vanilla caramel on the
Yeah.
smell.
I was gonna say like a fruity caramel oak.
Yeah, there's a little oak shine to it.
Yeah, a little bit of barrel, not a ton, but it's definitely a fruit-forward nose with caramel, oak, little hints of vanilla.
As for bourbon, it does set itself apart from other bourbons.
Yeah, it's very unique because that wheat too as well. The wheat adds like a smooth sweetness to it, kind of like what you get with the Pappy or the
But
Weller.
this
or
is
something.
like completely different from like a Larceny or something like that.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking like there might maybe be yeast or something, you know?
I'm liking
Yeah.
it so far. Let's move into the palate. Nice finish. It really kicks in at the end. Initial impression's really nice. The mouthfeel isn't like super thick, but it's not thin. I'd say it's right in the middle.
It's that classic Maker's Mark, like taste up front,
Yeah.
but a little more raspberry, oakish vanilla, I feel, coming in with the finish.
I would agree.
You know? Very unique and very good for what they've done.
Now, I like the 46. Not a huge fan of the standard one. I think, in my opinion, the Maker's really does need those staves in it to create a more multifaceted, complex palate. These limited edition releases are the best they've ever come out with yet. This pour is very nice, and I'd agree with you so far on the palate. Similar to what I got on the nose, it's like that fruity berry, caramel, oak, cinnamon with a nice, long-lasting, tingling finish. Goes nice with the cigar. It's the Drew Estate coffee-infused tobacco special. Jester's still working on his diesel sherry cask.
Sherry cask.
Yeah. What I normally use, you could find these on Amazon, chocolate-covered espresso beans from Hoosier Hill Farm.
You might be having a trip to the bathroom.
Before we move to the RC5, why don't we rate this one? The nose.
The nosy. I thought it was a good nose.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up on the nose. How about the palate there? What are you thinking?
For a Maker's Mark, definitely one of the higher echelon tastes
Like,
coming through.
I would agree. And like I said, the standard stuff, not as good. This, definitely better. I think it's worth the buy. Now, what did you pay for yours? $60 to $70?
I feel it's worth the price for the extra flavors that shine through.
What did you get on the finish? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Maybe a soft yes?
Yeah,
Now,
softy.
now, is this a banger? It's not a banger.
I mean,
Nah, it's not banging. Value-wise, for the price,
I'd say a little above average buy for the price.
above average. I think I'd agree. I would go above average.
Can they beat last year's edition?
All right, so here we go. Got to try to pick our favorite between the two. Oh shit! I think I just poured the wrong one.
When you poured the big one, the 2019.
No, I poured this one by accident. Don't worry about it. Now we're moving on to the PR6. Okay,
Ooh.
PR6. It's actually pretty similar nose, man. So this one's a little lower proof. So just to recap, it's 108.2, the one we're drinking now. The last one was 110,
You get a lot more fruit on
110.8. For me, it's very similar to the first one on the nose.
but with vanilla caramel and the classic Maker's
Fruity.
Mark.
Yeah, it's a little cinnamon. Not much difference so far.
I'm getting a lot of berry, like all different berries.
Yeah.
Vanilla-y, oaky,
I like the mouthfeel a little better.
more fruity. Was it actually smoother?
That's slightly different barrel proof and different staves that they might have used in here.
Not much on the finish though. It kind of lingers off quick.
It does, yeah. It floors it out of the gate and then it like falls flat.
Yeah.
So my pick is going to be the 2020. Predominantly
I think so as well.
because I like the finish a little better. The palate is pretty similar as far as the flavor, but the finish dies off.
I mean, it's not horrible.
For me, I like the nose on this. So nose for me is a thumbs up. Palate for me is a eh. I thought there's less going on this one, and the finish is going to be a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Thumbs down on
I
the
agree
finish.
with that.
Banger status is a no.
No, absolutely not.
And what do we think on the value? Is it still worth it for this one?
If you find in 2020, I suggest go for that.
Just get the
over this.
2020. Fuck the
Yeah.
2019. We're just gonna lay this bitch down.
Do you think this one, the store pick,
You want to do a quick
beat
little,
both of these?
sample? We're gonna try the private select. Let's see what we think, boys. Here we go. This is not that good on the nose at all. The PR5 and PR6 were way better on the nose. I'm not
It
getting.
just feels like it's one smell coming through.
I agree. It's almost just like
One powerful smell coming through.
I'm getting a little bit of ethanol as well. Maybe it needs to open up more. Let me try swishing it. I'm getting a little bit of caramel, vanilla, a tiny bit of fruit and oak, but it's like hidden in there. I'm not liking this nose. This is 111.4 proof, so this is the strongest. That was surprising. I think it tastes way better than it smelled.
Yeah, with a vanilla finish, whereas that one was more of an oak. And that's the difference you can get out of these Maker's Marks with the stops.
Yeah, it could be almost completely different.
Yeah.
So this has like a beautiful buttery mouthfeel. This one kind of amps up, has a nice long finish. You're getting a lot of those beautiful notes that you would expect from Maker's. Some little bit of cinnamon, some caramel, vanilla, some fruit notes. It's really smooth, it's easy to drink, and even at a higher proof, there's no burn.
I'm always a fan for the price of Maker's Mark.
Would you agree though that where it's at is in their limited edition bottles?
100%.
That's their best offering. So if you're gonna look for them, go for the limited edition. The 46s are right. The cask strength's alright, but the limited edition
That's
stuff.
where it's at.
Yeah.
That's going to be the top of the line
Just
for Maker's Mark.
go for these, okay? 2020 PR5 is number 1.
Yeah.
Private Select number 2.
Yep. 2019 coming third.
We appreciate you boys checking this out. Make sure to subscribe, follow us, throw some comments, drink responsibly. We'll see you next time. Cheers, boys.
Fuck lit. But no. Click it or ticket.
Yeah.